Are we ready? Are we ready? I would like to call this meeting of the Town Council to order. May we have the call to order and the roll call?
Councilmember Nick Farr,
Present.
Councilmember Ryan,
Here.
Councilmember Wellner is absent, Vice Mayor Thier.
Here.
And Mayor Fredericks.
Here.
Thank you.
Lee, would you like to give us a few words on oral communications?
If you'd like to make a comment during this meeting and are calling in on Zoom, please use the raise hand feature, which will indicate to me you'd like to make a comment. You can find the raise hand button on your webinar controls bar on the bottom of your Zoom window or smartphone screen. If you're calling in using a phone, you can dial *9 to raise your hand. And I am seeing none.
No open time comments. We move now to the consent calendar. Would any member of the public like to pull an item off the consent calendar? Would any member of the council like to do so? I'm seeing none. I will entertain a motion to approve the consent calendar.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We move now to action items, appointments to town boards and commissions. Is there a staff report?
Yes, Mayor, council members, tonight you are considering making one appointment to the Diversity Inclusion Task Force. You have interviewed all 8 applicants for the position over the course of 3 meetings. And tonight the appointee will serve out the remainder of the existing term. And happy to answer any questions.
And what is the existing term?
It's only through February.
Only through February. All right, thank you. Are there any council questions?
Are any of the potential appointees on the Zoom?
No,
There's one
But there
present
is-
in the room. Hamid. All right, is there any public comment on this item? I'm seeing none. Bring it back to council for a discussion.
Yes, Mayor Fredericks, I would love to make a motion to appoint Howie Awash to the Diversity Inclusion Task Force. Howie has been an active member of the community and has served on multiple boards, including Destination Tiburon that I have the pleasure of serving with her on. And I think she would be an excellent member of the Diversity Inclusion Task Force.
I'm sure she would, but I'd like to make some comments first.
I have a motion I made, so I'm looking
There
for a
has not been
second.
a second yet, and so I would like to make some comments. I think there's a problem, at least in process, of appointing a member to 2 government bodies. It's not a good precedent for a small town like this. She's a terrific candidate, but she already serves on the Citizen Advisory Panel as a community member appointed by the town council. Further, the DITF already has their own member appointed to the Citizens Advisory Panel. So before we second it, I would like people to consider whether we would like to appoint someone who has a broad spectrum of abilities, decision-making proficiency, wide diversity, experience and cultures, both in work and where they live. If you are interested, the process would be to offer a substitute motion.
Actually, I made a motion and I'm asking for a second.
I mean, I'd like to make some more comments up if someone else
Well,
wants. to
let me
second it,
just,
but
let me butt in. Let's see if there's a second first.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
if there's no second, it dies and we continue the discussion.
All right.
So I'll bite. I'll second it.
Okay, thank you. And did you want to?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to say, thank you to all the candidates. I mean, I really think that we had, I know that there were some incredibly well-qualified candidates in particular, Charmaine was one of them here. And I appreciated how prepared she and Gautam Malhotra were. They really showed in their interviews that they wanted to participate by how much research they had done before their interviews. And I think that really resonates with me. I also think that Howie represents a great addition to the DITF. is it possible, and this isn't contingent, the vote is not contingent on this, but it is an idea we could ask Karen to step down from the CIP if Howie gets appointed to the DITF, right? Because
Yeah.
so that we didn't have two DITF members on there, we could. Because I totally hear what you're saying, but it's not, that is not a huge issue for me. But again, I just, I think we just had great candidates and I don't have a strong preference for any of them.
Yeah, and I want to say we have
I-
great candidates. We always say we have an embarrassment of riches. So just because, anytime we have to pick one person, it's very difficult. I think that representation is really important. I think all communities need to be represented on the DITF. And I also think we do have a stellar candidate in Howie. I do think, Howie has exemplified kind of what we're looking for in a candidate and in a representative of our diversity inclusion task force. And really, without Howie, there would be no task force. So I would really like to hear that voice at our meetings in a more formal way. And it's really hard, I did listen to all of the interviews and we have so many great people, yourself included. And, anytime we have to do this, we're kind of begging people to apply for another commission and to not leave us and to stay involved. And, the meetings of the task force are open to everybody to come and participate. And we would love people to come in person, or can they attend online or online?
Yes.
Yes, attend online. So I don't see this as prohibiting anyone from being involved. I just think it's super important for our community.
I hear you. It
And,
is-
and I agree about Howie's eligibility. I still do have concerns about the double appointment of one person to two government bodies. And if she were willing, or Karen were willing to step down, if Karen were willing to step down, then Howie could serve as the representative from the DITF. That'd be great.
Yeah, I do.
I would like to also just sort of mention, I think I really appreciated everyone that came out. I thought that there were some folks that were really well prepared for the meetings, and I agree. I think Howie was one of them, but I also think Charmaine was one of them as well. And she's also here, which also is that's a plus. So I think it's something I'm sort of thinking about it as we go through these DITF meetings. We have 0 people that come to the meetings from the public. We have it's from my time on the DITF, it's been very low engagement publicly. So I think having people that are sort of engaged and wanting to show up, and people that show up, I think that's something that's interesting to me. So I appreciate that. We have one person from the pool of nominees that came today.
Yeah, and so I don't want to belabor this, but just sort of combining Vice Mayor Thier and Mayor Frederick's comments. I do, Holly, the only thing I would say is that I want, like, I don't have a problem philosophically in terms of appointing people to 2 boards, but I just worry that it closes the door when we could be inviting somebody else in. And it's not a huge thing for me. I'm just saying, we talked about it quite a bit at the last DITF meeting. We need to get more people involved. And I just want to make sure we have as many different people filling as many different seats as we can. But again, I think Howie is a great candidate, and
Okay, then
I'm not.
call for the vote, call the question.
Right, so I'll call for a vote. We have a nomination for Howie and a second. Do we have to do a roll call?
You don't have to.
No, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, that concludes that order of business. Are there any town council reports? Any town manager reports?
Just a reminder to council that I sent a doodle poll out yesterday where we are trying to schedule a number of things for the whole council, where we are attempting to schedule the CIP review meeting. So I would encourage council members to complete the doodle poll as quick as they could. And that's it. Thank you.
And so did you want to do it after we come back from closed session? What are we doing?
That's a separate matter. There
Okay.
was a couple of scheduling things I'd like to talk to the mayor and vice mayor about, and we can do that after closed session for just a minute, perhaps.
All right, so would it be appropriate to adjourn to closed session at this time?
After we see if there's anyone in the public wanting to make any comments on the closed session item.
Is there any member of the public in the room who would like to make a comment on the closed session item? Anyone online?
Seeing none.
And now maybe we adjourn to closed session? I'm so excited. Don't feel bad. I've complained for 3 years. He gives me new chairs and I don't even thank him until he points it out.
Well, I didn't notice. I just noticed.
I didn't notice.
No.
All right, we are reconvening now after closed session. Is there anything to report out of closed session?
The council met on one item and took no reportable actions, and that concludes my report.
Thank you. Unless there's an objection, we are adjourned. Thank you, folks.